Thanks for joining us. After 5 long years, the helipad at the Health Sciences Centre is just weeks away from opening. It's a first for Manitoba, and when it's ready, it will mean a direct flight to the emergency room for critically ill or injured patients. Right now, 80% of the calls the Shock Trauma Air Rescue Service, or STARS, responds to are from Manitobans needing to get to the Health Sciences Centre. But without a helipad, they have to land at the airport where an ambulance meets them and drives them to HSC. 20% of STARS calls are for patients going to the St. Boniface Hospital, but for those, the helicopter lands at the City of Winnipeg helipad near Regent. And again, an ambulance meets the helicopter and transports patients by ambulance to the St. Boniface Hospital on Taché. It is why a helipad at an urban hospital is so crucial. We've got extensive coverage on the need and the progress being made on that front tonight. Let's get you down to Heather Steele, standing by at the Air Ambulance hangar. Heather.
Loren, well, here at the STARS Air Ambulance hangar, a crew is ready 24 hours a day. This helicopter behind me is the highest level of pre-hospital care available to Manitobans in rural areas. But to this point, STARS has not been able to fly patients directly to the emergency room, tacking on up to 30 minutes for a victim needing immediate emergency care. This helipad that we're talking about on the roof of HSC could finally be open within weeks. Now, each flight crew includes 2 helicopter pilots, an advanced care paramedic, a nurse with previous emergency or intensive care unit experience, and a transport doctor that's always available by phone or on the aircraft. They also carry blood for transfusions on board and intensive care equipment. It's virtually a mini emergency room that flies. But flying patients directly to the real emergency room is something Manitobans have been waiting on for years.
Think of how much better we can do when we land on top of the emergency room and we're simply seconds from descending into the emergency room.
That was then Health Minister Teresa Oswald in 2011, first promising a hospital rooftop helipad was coming to Winnipeg, back when STARS Air Ambulance first became a permanent fixture in Manitoba. At that point, the province's first health facility helipad was slated to be finished by spring of 2014 as part of the multi-million-dollar HSC Diagnostic Centre construction. In September of 2015, well over a year after it was pegged to be open, HSC said construction was only 90% complete. But the helipad that would see patients flown directly to the rooftop did not open that year. Then in January of 2016, Provincial Health Minister Sharon Blady stood along STARS Air Ambulance crew members showing off the helipad that was then expected to be opened later in the year. Now headed into fall of 2016, the opening date still is not clear. The good news is that officials say it is within weeks now that it will be open. There's no physical construction left to do, just certifications, some final training sessions, and safety tests. So a helicopter should be able to land on the helipad by the end of October.
The project had challenges from the initial fire in March of 2013 that caused delays, and there were just other challenges of construction that have just carried on through the project, and but we've been able to again work with everybody and get over all of those challenges.
STARS has been vocal about the amount of time it can shave off of a call when that helipad opens. When it comes to getting the patient to the ER, every minute counts. Global's Sean Leslie introduces us to a family who learned that lesson on the darkest day of their lives. But first, a warning: some viewers may find some of the images in this story disturbing.
You can't tell now, but only 1 year ago, doctors said Charity Edwards likely wouldn't make it through the night.
Well, they actually had to remove her whole skull right away, and her brain was actually hemorrhaging outside of her skull.
She was hit by a car while riding her bike, fracturing her skull into dozens of pieces. She was in a coma for a month and a half, and now has a titanium plate in her head.
Can I try my left foot now?
The injury has weakened her left side, and she's had to switch to writing with her right hand.
It's hard using my right hand sometimes, because it's hard. I'm not used to using it.
Charity was hit on this stretch of road just minutes from her home in Grunthal. A STARS helicopter was able to land in the area and transport her to Winnipeg. After being loaded into an ambulance near the STARS base at the airport, she was driven to Children's Hospital at HSC. a trip that will be shortened by 20 to 30 minutes once the helipad is in use.
Those types of calls in the future, with a heliport open above the trauma center, we will have these patients in the hands of surgeons and tertiary care physicians a lot quicker.
A change that could make all the difference when every minute counts.
If she had been there an extra, I don't know, half an hour later or longer, then I don't know, it probably would have been fatal.
Such an absolutely remarkable story. We're bringing in Sean Leslie live now. And Sean, a long road of recovery still for that little girl.
Right. Well, Charity's still undergoing physical therapy to regain full strength in the left arm and leg, but considering where she was less than a year ago, still relearning some of the most basic tasks, including learning how to sit up in bed, how to talk, I think they're optimistic for her recovery.
Amazing. And STARS, of course, is landing near other hospitals in the province already.
Right. STARS can directly transport patients to about 20 rural hospitals. But when they do that, they're not landing on helipads. They have to actually land nearby in open areas, places adjacent to the hospital that are safe to do so.
Okay, thanks. Great story. Sean Leslie reporting live with us tonight. Now, this would be the first helipad, as we've mentioned, for Manitoba, but they're pretty common everywhere else. In fact, Ontario has 86 helipads. Saskatchewan has 2. In Alberta, there are 66 spots to land an air ambulance, either at the hospital or right next to a medical center, while British Columbia has 32 helipads. Now, when Winnipeg's helipad opens atop HSC, it is literally expected to save more lives. And coming up a little bit later in the show, I'll be joined by one of the senior pilots. We'll talk to him about his role in the life-saving missions and much more. For now, Loren, I'll send it back to you in the studio.
All right, thanks, Heather. And of course, we always have plenty more on this topic. You can head to our website for more information, globalnews.ca.